If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
You're listening to It's All Good Magic, Mysticism, and Earth Medicine. Visit us anytime at our new website, magic-and-medicine.com. And that's magic with a K. I'm your host, Dr. Candace Nadine Green.
Hey, hello, welcome to another episode. It's probably going to be a little bit lengthy, and I hope to remember to refer to the show, I don't know what that happened, to refer to the text that I've used for this episode to get my notes from and stuff, and I'll put it in the show notes. So it's no secret, and you've heard it many times, that out of Africa came some of the world's first organized system of herbal and medical science. The early Anok people produced the outcome of the Yoruba practices. No, and I'm probably mispronouncing this. Osain, Osain herbalism is a religion, a philosophy, and a science. And even though I am of Yoruba descent, I don't know that. I didn't know that, so that's probably why I can't pronounce it. It's another gift of being in, the diaspora. Now, born of this concept of herbalism being a religion, a philosophy, and a science, was the idea that oneness within the creative essence brings about a wholeness in the human essence. So we're whole and the divine is whole. I have this saying that I say every morning that says, I raise my vibration to the highest possible level so that I may see the divinity within me and all that is, because it's in all. We have to realize that's in all. When people say namaste, they use the namaste greeting as I salute the divine, the divinity within you, the God within you. Now, seekers of this religion, the Osain herbalism, seeker or aspirants, these Yoruba people, they seek to bring themselves into alignment, balanced health with their spiritual being, which their spiritual being immoral reality, and their relationship with the divine cause. This is achieved by herbs, by spiritual baths, living right, diet rituals, and self-development. It's taking your whole life which many of the ancients did. They looked at the whole life as one spiritual big thing. Everything had a purpose, a spiritual thing, a spiritual aspect to it. Eating, the food you eat. And I try to do that as well. I'm probably far from it, but I've very close to it with my gardening. To me, my gardening is spiritual. Harvesting is spiritual. Planting is spiritual. My praying in my altar is spiritual. The foods I eat are spiritual. Um, my stretches at night are spiritual. It's all part of it is part of my spirituality. It is my spirituality, every part of it. My art, my writing, my relationship with my husband, my relationship with my children. It's all important. Now, Osin is a divine journey. Os, Ocean, Osin, is a divine journey to the inner self, which encompasses all aspects of life. And the ancient Yoruba people and many ancient tribes did a lot of looking within themselves and saw how that life encompasses, and that the spirituality, the inner self, made up all aspects of their life. Now, the ancient prophet Orunmila of Yoruba said that the Ifa corpus, which is the cosmic intelligence, is the text of Osayan herbalism. And please don't mock me or criticize me for my pronunciation. I don't speak fluent Yoruba. I am learning, but I'm not fluent. I know vocabulary words and things like that, but I did not grow up speaking it fluently. My parents, my father especially, had his dialect was a mixture of many words, many mixture of Native American people that he met down in Alabama, also Yoruba, and even other African tribes that he came into contact with, people from Benin and English. So I learned a lot of things like chi chi and stuff like that, which is an African word meaning small. That's what he referred to as a bird, that the wren, those little brown birds. I think those are wrens. But so that's why I'm sort of a mess, but I'm trying. So please don't butcher me online. All right. So the self existent being, which is Olumare, or the one source, is believed to be responsible for creation and maintenance of heaven and earth and men and women. Olumare, Oludumare, Oludumare brought into being the divinities, this and spirits, the Orishas, believed to be Olumare's functionaries or intermediaries between mankind and Olumare. Ashe, nature, energy. It was through the Ashe that matter and the forces of creation evolved. So the union of the Orisha, the angelic forces, which some consider angelic forces, you can look at it that way, and Abba, human development, gave birth to the dual potentiality of the human spirit. Now, the Yoruba felt that it was the goal of people to align their earthly consciousness with the Ori, the physical and the spiritual head, in order to connect with the divine spirit. Okay, you cannot. That was important. Important. It wasn't about material wealth or gathering things. Can you imagine when life was just that simple? That those were the important. Aligning yourself was important. We've gotten so far away from that. We've clouded used our wants and desires have just clouded all of that, and that's why so many of us can't access our inner selves, can't find it because all these other things are clouding it up. Now, in Yoruba medicine, divination, as called by the priests for centuries, it has been considered the highest form of religion. In Yoruba divination, purpose was divination was to invite the incarnate spirit to come to form and show itself to the people by spirit or by energy. And that was divination. And if you think, and those of us who do divinations, that's what we're trying to get the spirit uh, um, to come. When I do divinations for people, I am contacting. My spiritual team is contacting the other person's spiritual team, and they channel through me. They do their communication, they channel through me, and that's how it manifests. But they're present. My spiritual team is present, and their spiritual team is present, and it does take up a lot of energy in my body, which is why I try not to do more than 2 a day. Today, actually, I did 2. Well, today actually I had 2 scheduled, but one person didn't show up, which is sad for them because they just lost their money. But I do give them one chance to reschedule without having to pay. Um, but my time is valuable, and I do a lot of preparation for this. And people need to be courteous to those who do this type of work, because we're vessels, and we allow spirit to use our energy and our body, and it drains us. And when you don't show up for your divinatory appointment, people like to call it a reading, whatever, intuitive reading. I phrase mine as an intuitive reading, but it's not a reading. I'm not. It's not a reading. It's not. Um, I channel, and and that takes up energy. And when people don't show up, just it's really being disrespectful. Unless you don't show up, no show, no call, no nothing. That's being disrespectful to spirit, and to the person's time, and to the energy that is taking you, that for that person to just open themselves up to being utilized. And we don't value that as like we don't value that anymore. And it's very sad. Some of us do, but just generally speaking here, where the ancients, this was important. This was important, and they respected it. They knew that we are multi-dimensional beings made of energy and spirit, whose physical body is part of a larger dynamic system of energy. They understood that. We don't seem to know that. We want quick, fast answers. Am I going to get married? Am I going to have a child? Blah, blah, blah. No, you don't need to know that. What you need is the message from spirit, so that you can look within. You can go within and do the work and align yourself. Okay. There are entire cosmos within the body, and we need to realize that we are connected to the cosmos. The ancients knew that. The Orishas are the invisible intelligences that govern the human body and its functions. That's just a side note there. Consciousness itself is a form of energy. It's energy. We are all made of energy and spirit. It's the highest form of energy in the universe. It's integrally connected to the divine consciousness. And you need to tell yourself, I am the divine, because we all are. We all are. Namaste, we all are. We are linked to the cosmos through our spirit body and react to changes in the planets as well as the moods and illnesses of others. You can get into someone else's energy field. You just because we're all, energies vibrating and moving at different speeds to form this illusion of a physical form. And when you ever get close to someone and you can feel something? Yeah, because we're our spirit body is linked to the cosmos, and we can feel changes in energy that happen around us because we are energy. When there is a change in the universe, in the environment, a resonance is produced in the spirit of the human body, which in turn affects the physical body. Like the waves, the moon and the waves. You can feel that. It is through our spiritual bodies that we invite contact with the divine. When you go into meditation, it is your spirit. You're forgetting about the physical form. And when you're trying to make contact with your guides or angels or someone in spirit form, you're forgetting about your spirit body. And it is your spirit that is making the contact. It's not the physical body. The physical body is just what can I say? It's just a transporter of your spirit. It holds your spirit. It can't do those things, but the spirit can. The art of Yoruba divination is a means of communicating with the divine part of your soul. And the prophet or Orumila or Arumila, oh, someone's gonna really butcher me on mine. I'm sorry. Taught that the spiritual consciousness of the person was not fixed at any point on the body, but was whatever part of the person the thoughts dwelt, wherever the thoughts were. Each of us is an extension of a higher spiritual consciousness, which leads to seeking to evolve through learning experiences on earth. Now, the connection between one's consciousness, which is the ori, and one's behavior, iwabile, is seen as a way of maintaining a correct attitude towards nutrition, lifestyle, in order to ward off sicknesses, negative spirits, and disease, because sickness is negative spirits. According to the theory of the Ifa corpus, the oppressive forces known as Ajogun cause disease. They're demonic beings, all earthly and heavenly forces whose destructive intent is to offset the human body. That's what they are. The Ologun, the medicine healer, has the job of helping those affected to overcome the opposing forces that disrupt their health. Now we're back to the Orishas. Before we go back to the Orishas, we're just going to take a quick break so I can get a drink of water, and then we'll continue.
Mystic Queen Mother offers various spiritual services virtually. Now you can be anywhere in the world and receive intuitive readings, divination and consultation sessions, and even remote video intuitive readings via email. Your sessions will always include spiritual guidance and messages from your ancestors and spiritual team. My prices are reasonable and affordable. You can even book and pay safely and securely right online. Once you book, you'll get a link via email for your session. Visit magicandmedicine.com and click the Services tab in the menu to learn more. That's magic-and-medicine.com. Oh, and don't forget, that's magic with a K. magicandmedicine.com.
All right. I definitely needed that break. Felt like I was rambling and rambling on and on. So, as I mentioned once before, um, the Orisha, I'm not, I'm familiar with, I am familiar with, but it's not part of my spirituality. I do mostly the Mami Water, that is my focus, and other parts of the ATR. And I know I'll probably get some slack on that. So, sorry. So, the Orisha are spirits of heaven. We don't even have to say heaven. They're spirits sent to continually wrestle with the human nature in order to uplift it and to purify it. Okay. The drive of the Orisha is to evolve towards a higher level of consciousness. And that's the motivating force behind the divination system, is to evolve toward a higher level of consciousness. The Orisha spirits use the physical form as a teaching and learning tool. Okay. The ancient Yoruba healers referred to healing benefits of plants, but we'll get to that in a minute. So Orisha is a term. It's a combination of two Yoruba words, Osh, O-S, or Osh, O-S-H. It means many. And Iri, I-R-I, means to do or many-eyed. Ori is the reflective spark of the human consciousness, which is embedded in human essence. And the Sha, S-H-A, is the ultimate potentiality of consciousness to enter into or to assimilate itself into divine consciousness. The Orisha assists in the development of Iwapele, or balanced character. We can't heal ourselves we can heal ourselves with the use of herbs and foods as special inducements. And divination allows us to unveil the healing spirits that are within substance or the body. The ancient Yoruba healers referred to healing benefits of plants, not only for the cure of spiritual disease, but also for its inducement of extraordinary powers of consciousness and spiritual upliftment, which we're going to refer to the psycho-spiritual level, which brings the person in harmony with the higher selves and spiritual truths. And, Native Americans have that too. Other cultures have some herbs that help bring them to a higher a level of consciousness. I think for the Native Americans, it's peyote. Never had it. But it helps with trances and things like that, because plants are a part of nature. They're not separate from nature. They live in harmony with nature. And plants, peyote is a plant, and other plants that the ancients used to help achieve higher levels, get them to that trance state so they can get into the higher level of consciousness. They are Plants are ready, they're willing, and they're able to cooperate and assist us, assist humanity. Without these plants, without any green plants, we could neither breathe nor eat, and that is the truth. We build our homes from plants, even though we won't. You just think about it. Think about what your house is made of. Now, according to the Yoruba healing science, the life force or spiritual energy surrounding all living things is shareable among plants, animals, and human. Person and plant become one, especially when we're trying to get into trance or higher level of consciousness or have a vision, something like that. Marijuana is a plant. And I personally don't think it's a bad one. I think alcohol is. And it's not. I think alcohol is a bad thing to take. But I don't think ganja is bad. Okay, and that's just my opinion. It's helped a lot of people. Now, the oneness of person and plant is what makes possible a mutual sensitivity, allowing the plant and the person to not only intercommunicate, but to interact energetically, because we're made of energy, plants are made of energy. Everything is energy. And yes, we can communicate with plant spirits. We can. I know this for a fact because I do. Um, living beings are connected with the divine. We all are. So I may see the divinity within me and every living thing. Uh, Living things radiate energy forces that are beneficial to humans, like plants radiate energy forces that are beneficial to humans. And we can feel these forces. And plants feed into their own force field, which in turn, well, humans, we feed into our own force field, which in turn feeds back energy to the plant. Now, the ancients, specifically the Yoruba healer, when they wanted to gain information about the healing power of a plant, they would get in contact with the plant Orisha through trance. The plant Orisha through trance. Okay, if you don't know what a trance is, it's a dream state. And this dream state would take the Yoruba healer into the realm of the astral world. Now, if you don't know what the astral realm is, it's the real world, not the world of flesh and bones. Okay, the real world is where the plant orishas come and communicate. It's the world of our visions and dreams. Whenever we go into the dream world of the orishas, we are opening a channel of divine communication between us and the plant spirits. There is a spirit that is associated with each herb, with each plant, even the ones involved that create the healing. There's a spirit involved, a spirit associated with each one. The sounds are used at various frequencies to invoke the plant spirits. We just have to remember that the human body is related to and connected with the divine powers of creation, and that needs to be respected. We need to take a moment and respect that. The ancient Africans, considered health to represent the most direct path to spiritual, mental, and physical attunement. Mental and spiritual. We know that the earliest inhabitants of Africa were skilled hunters and gatherers. Art and religion permeated and reflected every aspect of life. It was simple. The ancient Africans' concept of reality was that everything has its cycles, including human life. A cyclical everything. Unity of all things in the form of one, divine. The idea that we are all one, we are all connected, every living thing. Nothing exists without the one, the divine. It exists in all things because it's that which gives it being. And unfortunately, we don't realize this. And many of my my fellow blacks are destroying our bodies, are destroying ourselves because we don't realize this. We don't realize any of this. We need to go back to, I mean, it doesn't mean you have to just travel back to Africa, but it means you do have to do some looking. Do some looking. Okay? Do some looking. So you can have complete healing for, even if you don't have an ailment, but you need to have a change of consciousness where you recognize the root cause and listen to your bodies. Okay? Regain our balance. Get rid of negative energy. You can be suffering and you don't even realize it. Abba. Abba is the Yoruba word that has to do with center, alignment with the seven or Orisha. Orisha spirit, remember. Ojogun is demon, negative energy. The Yoruba system incorporates the environment and the emotional states. And we need to do more to try to get back. The African Yoruba medicine deals with the elimination of the root source of the problem. And I want you to know, any illness that you may have, including myself, can be the result of imbalance of the physical, mental, and spiritual aspects of the body. And if you don't address it, it will stay forever. We need to go back to simplicity. Okay? Go back to simplicity. And I've listened to this podcast. I'm going to give a shout out to them. Even though they don't probably know, she probably has no idea that I exist, but I love this podcast, Black in the Garden. I love how they incorporate our heritage and in gardening and the spiritual aspects as well, the connection with the plants, the talking with the plants. It's not one of these crunchy people, blah 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 blah, blah, these hippies crunchy. No, there is a desire out there for people to, especially, and I'm speaking, since I am a Black person, I'm speaking about Black people right now, and you can apply it to yourself as if you're not a Black person listening. But there is a desire to go back and relearn the ancient ways, relearn the ways of our ancestors, connect with our ancestors, and see what they can teach us that can help us, because we are in trouble. We are dying, diabetes, high blood pressure, all of these things because we're living in balance, and the stress of being a Black person, racism and discrimination, that's killing us too. If we're not getting shot, this other stuff is killing us too. Let me tell you, I'm going through that stress too. Okay. And I've ended up in the hospital a few times because of it. And I had a nervous breakdown, and I also almost died when my body shut down a couple of weeks ago because of the stress. My body just shut down. I was on the floor because my digestive system just shut down. And I eat my food from the garden, so it's not because I eat bad, because I don't. I eat very well, and I exercise, and I drink tons of water. But that was because of stress, and I had to say no more of that. I had to. Oh boy, I had to really sit down with the ancestors and with my Ori and talk and I had my pot outside with my herbs and things, and doing my ceremony ritual, and get my ancestors to join me there and get myself back. And let me tell you, they did a cleansing of my body. It was pretty rough. And I'm not talking about X-lax and all that stuff. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the spiritual, how the spirits and the ancestors came in and how they just ripped all the stuff out. My heart was beating fast. I mean, it was, oh, it was and I was so tired. It was about 3 hours of it, and I passed out from fatigue on the bed. I mean, my body was hot. It was hot. My husband was squeezing my hand. It was almost like I was giving birth in the hospital again. Usually he would call the ambulance, but this time he didn't. He sat with me. He held my hand. I stripped, had nothing on but my underwear. I know, TMI, and put a nice cool sheet on me. The air conditioner was on and I was sweating. Okay. And then he put an ice cold washcloth on my head. And that's when I just passed out. And he sat there. I knew he was there for a while watching me. And then he left when I was like in a deep sleep. And then I heard this voice, this crystal clear female voice that said, "You can get up now." I opened my eyes. No one was there. I put my head up in bed. No one was there. But I got up and I felt different. I felt strong. I felt there was a change. And I knew that I would not let my body get like that again, not allow that. And no, I do know that my ancestors are within me and I am of them. We got to stop stressing, and we got to get back in touch with our ancestors. Talk to the plants, learn from the plants. If you live in an apartment and you think you can't grow a plant, you are wrong. Get a pot and you can have a plant. Okay, just have, even if one. That's how I started. When I was in 5th grade, I did a science project with the plant, and that was the end for me. I was sold. I had plants ever since, even when I was a little kid. And I have some plants indoors that are over 20 years old. Over 20 years old, and I've grown other plants from them and given them away and stuff like that. And I have my beautiful big garden back there. I get all my food, which I love. Today I got some mini egg. Today I harvested some dwarf eggplants. Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. They're in the refrigerator. I can't wait. So I'm going on and on and on, but thank you for listening. So you want to drop me a line, shout out, just visit my website. I'm always love to hear from people. I got to get more stuff up, like a support button and blah, blah, blah. But thank you for listening. And No stress, people. No stress. Go in peace.
Thank you for listening to It's All Good Magic, Mysticism, and Earth Medicine. Check us out at magic-and-medicine.com. And that's magic with a K. Thanks for listening.